Hello, my name is Samantha, or Outspoken Samantha, or Outspoken Sam, depending on what platform you're watching this on. On my channel, I like to talk about current events and issues that I think actually matter to everyday people. You know, those of us who are not CEOs of big corporations, who are not part of the mainstream media, who do not live in the Hollywood bubble, and who are not politicians in Washington, D.C. You know, those of us who actually have to live with the decisions being made by the people in the previously mentioned categories. If you feel like you relate to being an everyday American, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Leave comments below. All of these things help me to support my channel and expand my reach, hopefully to find other people who value logic, reason, and sanity. Also, be sure to find me on Rumble under Outspoken Samantha in the event that YouTube decides that I have violated their community standards and chooses to kick me off their platform forever. That being said, let's get into today's topic. So I know that my first few videos have really been focused on this whole thing with gender identity and gender ideology. I do look at a lot of issues. I read about a lot of issues, but this is just something that really just gets to me. We are talking about our kids. We are talking about the future. We are talking about the people that we are trying to put out into society in a few years to take over and to hopefully create a better society than what it was when they went into it. And I have a hard time believing that that is going to happen if by the time they reach adulthood, they are so confused about who they are that they're not capable of doing anything. They haven't fostered any other talents or skills, because they've been focusing for the last 18 years of their life on whether or not they're a girl or a boy or something in between. So that is why I talk about this issue so much, because I do think that it matters not only to parents, but to anybody that really wants to see a good, strong generation to leave this country to leave our society to leave our businesses and our homes and our land and, everything that we have to. So I have a lot of concerns about the kind of things that are being introduced to children at such a young age that really, it becomes an obsession in a lot of ways. It becomes an obsession just not only for little kids, but for their parents and for the society around them. I mean, I don't understand where this complete obsession with gender identity and sexuality and all of these things came from. It's like we can't talk to our kids about anything else. It's like this is what their classrooms are filled with. This is what their teachers are obsessed with. This is what parents are obsessed with. So I know that that's what the first few videos of mine have been about, but it's just something that there are so many things that come out every single day that just absolutely blow my mind. And this story, I really think is going to blow your mind as well. So as I was scrolling through Twitter, I came across this article by Christina Buttons and Colin Wright, who write for the Post Millennial. And the headline says, "Case study, mom begins socially transitioning her 4-month-old baby." Well, she calls it a baby, but it's a baby. And the reason I bring this up, so a lot of times when I'm seeing people, whether it be parents or teachers or whoever, saying that kids are socially transitioning or they're transitioning or they are showing signs of being transgender, I always wait to hear somebody say they were, taken to a therapist or a psychologist or a counselor that officially diagnosed them with gender dysphoria or some kind of actual condition, confirming to them that this was actually something that they were dealing with. But the only thing that I ever hear is, the basis for this transition was that their daughter preferred trucks, or their son preferred dolls, or their daughter didn't like to wear dresses, or their son liked the color pink. Like that is the scientific basis that parents and teachers are actually basing these lifelong decisions, these lifelong identity decisions on when they start to help children transition to another gender. And this story is no different. It says, last month, the mother of 3 young children made a post in a Facebook group for parents of transgender kids asking members when they began to notice their trans child or themselves for the adult trans members, exhibiting discomfort at being addressed according to their assigned birth and gender. She's curious because she claims to have noticed her almost 2-year-old son getting upset when she refers to him using the word boy, because her son has apparently shown interest in stereotypically feminine things from birth, like long hair and pretty dresses and pink. She decides that she will no longer say terms with the word boy in it. And in her post, she also makes the claim that all three of her children are somewhere on the autism spectrum, which I thought that was really, really interesting. So she says she doesn't yet refer to her son as trans, but she said a friend mentioned it to her as a possibility just based on the fact that this baby was gravitating more towards certain toys. A 4-month-old. So to back up her claim that her 1-year-old son gets upset when I call him a baby boy, she shared a video of herself asking her son, "Are you my boy?" In the video, her son starts out smiling, but after his mother asks, "Are you my boy?" the child opens his mouth and his expression appears somewhat neutral. So this is that video.
Hey, are you my boy? Hey, are you my boy?
Clearly, the faces are blurred, so we can't really see exactly what he's doing, but we don't know if his facial expression changed because of the tone of her voice, or he was distracted by something, or any number of reasons that his facial expression could have changed. But this is something, apparently that this is the science that we are supposed to adhere to when we start transitioning our children as babies. And I don't know if you know this, but babies and toddlers know nothing about gender stereotypes. They don't even know that they exist. They don't know that if they pick up the pink stuffy toy, that's generally associated with little girls. They don't know that if they crawl towards the dinosaur, that's generally associated with little boys. They have absolutely no idea what any of that means, and that is not what they are basing their decisions on. The only people that understand any kind of gender stereotype is their parent, is the adults. So it's amazing to me that the people that are so bent on destroying gender stereotypes are the people that are the most obsessed with them. In the article, she just goes on to explain that even at 4 months old, he was gravitating towards softer toys and what would be more stereotypically feminine toys. He even preferred to have a bow on his head, which I don't really see the big deal with that, but okay. And then when they were at the doctor's office, he wasn't interested in the book about trucks. He was interested in something else that she mentioned. She tests him out in boy clothes and girl clothes and says that he seems to prefer the girl clothes. But honestly, this is absolute insanity to me. When did we start associating these big implications with the decisions that our children were making? A kid can't pick up a toy or gravitate towards a certain activity without their parent being like, "Oh my gosh, do they really want to be a girl or are they really a boy?" Or putting all of this emphasis and all of this analysis on literally every single thing we do. And they think that it's damaging if we don't put these deeper implications on their decisions. Whereas I personally think that this is an insane level of pressure to be putting on children for them to grow up with, knowing that every decision that they make, their parent is analyzing them and trying to decide if they need to change their name, to change their pronouns, to buy them a whole new wardrobe, to sign them up for drugs and puberty blockers, that is the weight that they are putting on every single decision this child makes. Being a little kid and thinking, if I pick up a truck, is my mom going to change my name? If I ask my mom if I can take dance lessons, is she going to buy me a whole new wardrobe? Does that not sound crazy to anybody else? We used to just let kids pick things that they were interested in and not worry about it. Affirming a child's identity used to be just about telling them to be an individual, that they could be a girl that liked dinosaurs, or that they could be a boy that liked arts and crafts, and that was perfectly fine because that's who they are. It didn't mean that they were born in the wrong body, or that they had the wrong name, or that somehow, their mind and their body are not connected at all. And to put the Now, every single thing that they do just has these huge implications, and it's almost like parents are just chomping at the bit to find something, to find a way to initiate their child into this club, into this trend, into this community. And I don't know if it's parents that are looking for validation for themselves. They want to be part of the cool kids. I mean, in this article with this case study, the mom, every time someone commented on her posts or, asked questions or drew attention to it, it wasn't like, yay, my child is having their identity confirmed. Yay, they were on a healthier path for my child. It was, yay, more likes. Oh my goodness, look, 10,000 likes. I will link the article below. You can read it for yourself. But have you ever thought about what would happen if you sat down your son or daughter and you asked them the questions that really help them understand what these lifelong decisions look like? If you sat your daughter down and said, hey, are you excited that when you grow up, you're going to have to use the same bathroom as all the boys and the locker room as all the boys? Are you excited to have facial hair where you can grow a beard, to never have breasts and to have hair on your chest? Are you excited to hang out with the boys? Do you know if, as a grown man, if you're going to want to date other grown men or if you're going to want to date women? Do you know if you're going to want to raise a family, if you're going to want to be able to have babies of your own? Or are you okay with making the choice now that you're never going to have babies and that you're going to be sterile? If I sat down with my 6-year-old daughter and said to her, honey, I think you're a boy. When you grow up, you're going to look like daddy and you're not going to look like mommy. I guarantee my daughter would have an absolute fit. And let me tell you, I had 2 boys and then my husband really wanted to have a third. I was kind of on the fence. So we decided to have a third, found out it was a girl. And I was like, well, I already have 2 boys. So I was prepared for the fact that my daughter was probably going to really like cars and dinosaurs and all the things that her brothers played with. And I was perfectly fine with that. I was just mentally prepared for that. And she does. She plays with the dinosaurs. She plays with the cars. As she's gotten older, on her own, she likes dolls. She likes pink. She likes dressing up. But she'll also play with dinosaurs and trucks with my middle son. She'll dress up in army fatigues and she'll play, whatever game that he is playing. So she's always just been her own person with no big implications of the decisions that she makes and the things that she likes. And the same thing with my boys. My older boy is what I would consider more quiet, more gentle, more sensitive, probably has more of the characteristics that people would define as feminine. He's definitely not feminine, but he has more of that softer personality, whereas my middle son is just a big bulldozer. He's just a bull in a china shop. He'll break things, he knocks things over, he has no grace whatsoever, and he is just a tough kid. So everybody is different. All 3 of them are different, but that doesn't make them not a girl and not a boy. They're allowed to be their individual selves. They're allowed to like the things that they want to like, but we don't need name changes and pronoun changes and drugs and wardrobe changes and all of these lifelong decisions for them to feel good about who they are. So yes, that was a little bit of a tangent, but back to my point, if you were to sit down and tell a child what the long-term implications of these decisions were, and the fact that it would literally change the entire trajectory of their life, who they hung out with, what bathroom they used, what activities they participated in, what they looked like, what their body developed into, family planning and partner planning and relationships and all of these things. Why are we putting that much pressure on our children? Why? Because your daughter picked up a dinosaur? Because your son likes the color pink? Or likes the feel of a soft skirt? Is that really what we're doing? I just think parents need to be honest with themselves and ask themselves these questions. Are these the risks that they are willing to take? I was reading through a thread the other day of this woman on Twitter who calls herself a therapist or psychologist, or she participates in gender affirming care, and she was talking about how she worked with this child that was 12 years old, wanted to transition, put this individual on puberty blockers, and in the thread she said this was potentially life-saving care. Potentially. It's not for sure this child came to her and said that they would end their life if they didn't get this care. It could be potentially life-ending care because you have absolutely no idea who that child wants to be. They have no idea who they want to be. We just saw freaking Demi Lovato go back and forth between the pronouns she wants to be called because she couldn't decide. And you really think a 12-year-old knows exactly who they want to be in 5, 10, 20 years? You have no idea if you saved their life from anything. But as the adult, as the authority figure who does understand lifelong decisions, who does understand the implications of future relationships, of future decisions, of future activities, and everything that comes with it, you know what this will look like in 10, 20, 30 years for your child, and they don't. But as the adult that does have that understanding, when you push a child to go along with something that they do not understand the implications of, you have taken away their choices. You have preyed upon them in their weakness, in their lack of knowledge, in their lack of experience, and abused their trust in you because they don't think that you are going to lead them down a path that could potentially be harmful to them. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you are a bad parent because you want your child to figure out their identity for themselves. Like, subscribe, comment. See you next time.